What's up guys, it's Jose here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. This is going to be, well, you can tell by the title already, this is going to be a very different video compared to what we normally do on the channel. It's not going to be custom tactics, it's not going to be squad building. We're going to be addressing the issues in FIFA 23, and honestly, as much as I know EA aren't going to watch this video, other content creators are talking about it, pro players are talking about it. This is the sort of video EA would need to watch and make changes. We'll discuss as to why obviously they're not going to watch this video and why they wouldn't care about these changes anyway, because ultimately they make too much money. But this has been impacting me. It's been impacting a lot of the community from what I see. So I've made some notes to avoid going on to a 30-minute tangent, but we're going to discuss, and I want this to be an open discussion, the problems within FIFA 23, how EA can address them, our expectations of the community, all that good stuff, and hopefully in the comment section we'll be able to open up a bit of debate discussion on if the issues I am raising are really issues at all, or if it's just something that we should be shutting up and dealing with. But the main thing is, I want to get it off my chest. I feel like it will help me get a weight off my chest, and it will help explain why also you didn't see a custom tactics video on Monday. For the first time in over a year, we didn't upload on the Monday, which is insane to me. But yeah guys, hit the like button if you enjoy this sort of video. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. We're still pushing for 2k subs, and let's just jump into the FIFA 23 issues. Honestly, we're going to touch gameplay first, but I was going to get gameplay to record having the background of this, but the gameplay is that bad that I'm not bothered to. So you can enjoy looking at the team that I've completed Ribery, not played a single game, Pac Montiel, not played a single game. That's my team. We're going to go through different parts of the game as we talk, but you'll be looking at a screen for a couple minutes each time. And first of all, I want to sort of preface, I have a lot of issues with the game, and it's killing a lot of motivation for me as a content creator, which is why one content slowed down. You didn't see custom tactics, and it's why I've just not posted as much about the game anymore. I wish I could I wish I could go down the route of the typical content creators just to be, oh, my views dropped off from FIFA 22 to FIFA 23, which they did, and that I had to struggle with that for the first few weeks. But that's not the issue. The issue is the game. So on the game, my first big issue is gameplay. Is that we have two different versions of the game. And because there's two different versions of the game on next generation, so Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and old gen, like PS4, Xbox, I can't remember the old Xbox console's called, Xbox One, having these two completely different types of game on the same game create different metas for a player base that should all be playing the same game because it's called FIFA 23. I can understand the whole wanting to take benefit of next generation technology, but when we're drastically, and we're looking at hypermotion, basically the whole lengthy side of things, which I didn't mind too much, but the fact that lengthy would have been okay if it applied on both consoles or both generations, and then it could be patched accordingly. Because this, for one, it means that people are playing completely different aspects of the game, which if you have a mate who's on next gen and you're on old gen, you're discussing parts of the game that you're enjoying or not enjoying. It's a completely different conversation. It shouldn't both be labeled FIFA 23 with how drastic the changes are. And in this hinders content as well. I had it as I make a lot of custom tactics videos. That's the core of my content. All my custom tactics are based on what I play, which was now next generation on the Xbox Series S. But I have comments saying, oh, well, we need tactics for old gen. So instantly you're making more confusion amongst the community. Content no longer, even if you're trying to offer a service, this is come get the custom tactics, get better at the game, have some fun. You can't just take that and apply it anymore. You first have to check if that applies to your console. And the people having to go out of the way to explain both sides, which can then add even more confusion to it. So overall, that whole having two generations of gameplay is dreadful and is really, really frustrating. But then the actual gameplay itself, and I know I'm going to talk specifically from next gen now because that's what I've been playing. Specifically on next gen, the game just isn't that good. Now that can come into personal opinion. I think the meta and the gameplay isn't good. It's not enjoyable for a casual. It's not enjoyable for the pros. It's not enjoyable for the people like me who were in the middle. I say me, I was in the middle. I haven't played the game in almost 2 weeks now. And then it's also, this game is meant to be an esport, and it's horrific to watch and play. On an esports level, I've been in this space for almost a decade. Every game has abusive mechanics. There's always something that's overpowered, and to an extent, that's fine. But whenever it's as drastic as it is in FIFA, where you will see pros play a game where they just it's abusing 4 or 5 mechanics over and over and over again in the game to get success. That's not fun to play. It's not fun to watch at all. Most FIFA, competitive FIFA, has been incredibly boring for as long as I can remember. And I think the big thing here, and Stallion has done I believe it's Stallion, I'll hopefully link it down below if I remember, has done a perfect video on this, but the whole focus on getting the game to be realistic isn't what FIFA needs. Not at all. People think this game is more realistic, it actually isn't. And I'm going to have Stallion's video linked down below, one of the first things in the description, because he goes in a lot more depth, he plays at a higher level than I do, but he explains it absolutely perfectly. Basically, we've got more realism now that actually isn't real, causes more problems for the game, and it would be better to go less realistic and have an arcadey game, and that would offer a better player experience for casuals all the way to esports players, and would then offer a better viewing experience. So that's my gameplay issues out of the way. So let me actually go through, and I want to talk about gameplay offerings right now. So interesting crossplay was good, all for it, it was appreciated, but that's kind of where it ends in like FIFA's progression and good things. Co-op was introduced, but not for every mode. As far as I'm aware, you can't play co-op on foot jumps. You can play it on Rivals. Yeah, on Rivals you can change from solo or co-ops, but you can't on foot jumps, which I can understand if you're going for some sort of competitive integrity there. But what you could just do is open 2 modes of foot jumps. So if you're on foot jumps, have a menu for solo players, have a menu for co-op players, allow both to be completed within the same foot jumps weekend if people really want to. Like there's that little in the grand scheme of things to play for, and I don't even try and hit me with the whole, oh, there's like these new World Cup swaps tokens that take a just stupid amount of time for what the rewards bring. Like that concept of bringing like 50 swaps tokens for World Cup 3 content to complete and get swaps for, all for it, but it has to be beneficial to the player. And like, also, I'm talking from someone who, up until recently, was a hardcore player. Is the best way I can probably define it, as cringe as that sounds. But this has to be open for the casuals as well. The fact that people were calculating how many hours it took to complete these swaps tokens, and it's just insane. Anyone that's in all this time is winning 6 matches in this mode, and you can only play so many games a day, and they changed that, what, 2, 3, 4 times now? It's just so long, big time commitment, not great. But that was, co-op should be in more modes, basically, is that they should open up. I think they might have an issue with actually being able to do tournaments, which is another point, but there should be tournaments in some shape or form. They should be solo, they should be co-op. Rivals has co-op, so why the hell doesn't Foot Champs? Like, just, so that's just another thing. Draft needs addressed heavily. I don't have a draft entry, and I'm not using a token for it, so I can't even go on to it. View my draft history, see how horrific I've been at draft this year. There you go, 7 of 5. This mode is dead. I used to enjoy watching drafts. I never enjoyed playing it that much, and I tried to play it more this year, and it was probably the worst year to try and actually play it. The reward system's horrific. They take too long to update the player selection in it. It should be updating with every single new promo, so that every single new card is available immediately on it, and then they shouldn't be removed from the pool unless it's like 7 months into the game, and they're popping too much, or just the old cards drop weight, so more new cards are coming in to fit the power curve. At the minute, it's just single player draft has never had much value. Online draft is just, it's a useless part of the mode, essentially. They need to change the reward system. I think probably make it co-op as well would be a good option again, allow co-op in there. And I feel, again, they need to add a tournament mode on top of it. But I say, yeah, you can let me know your feelings on draft. I think that's a unanimous one, that draft has been a bit lackluster. Squad battles, as much as I don't play it and as much as I can agree it's boring, it serves a good purpose for objectives, as does friendlies. And I think for a lot of players, because we have to think about this, like if you're watching this video, you're probably not a casual, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But most casual players in FIFA will play squad battles, at least a little bit each week, as a way to either get some extra rewards in. Maybe that's all they play. I know, like, a lot of younger the player base will play a lot of squad battles until they're good enough to go into rivals, until they feel confident. Some people have the fear of losing, which is a thing. My only gripe with squad battles, I think the rewards for the fact that you're playing AI are probably fair. I say I don't play it enough to give a full sort of verdict on that. I think there should be an option to change the time of the game from 6-minute halves to 4-minute halves, and as a result of that you get less coin multiplier at the end of it, basically. Because I feel like if the option is there to change it to 4-minute halves, and it's clear, which is another thing EA need to do, be clear that you can change it to 4-minute halves. Because look at these, the rank 1 rewards, if you got that far, top 200, rare players pack, mega packs. It's a lot of time commitment, but you're also playing AI, so I think that's still fair for 65k coins. But you should have 4-minute halves. You get less coins and less points if you're doing 4-minute halves rather than 6 minutes, which is fair. But it allows you to, 1, get through the games faster, and then 2, complete challenges faster if they're in that mode. And then it's not like it's a negative thing, because it's open to everyone, and if people want to commit those extra 4 minutes, they can, while getting more benefits. That would be an easy thing to add, so easy to implement, and it would improve Squad Battles game mode quite a lot. It leaves Rivals and Champs as the, not really the last 2 main modes, but we can talk on friendlies at the end. Rival system needs reworked. I think they did do a good thing going to this division change with like milestones. The ability to not de-rank is good because it stops people who are really elite players or Division 1 players dropping in Division 5 for some easy games. I like that system of it, and overall the reward system isn't too bad for it. I just think it's not so much how EA can probably change it, it's more community. Like, once you exceed Division 3, and yes, you can argue this for any skill-based matchmaking mode, because this is technically skill-based matchmaking, there's a ranking system, it's the most toxic mode in FIFA. Without a doubt, sorry, FIFA Ultimate Team. It's just mad toxic. I think the reward system's okay on it. I would like to see more done with the mode, whether that's seasonal, weekly, extra challenges. I think they've got a very basic format. I like that you only need 3 wins to get the weekly reward, and then it's 8 for the big one. I think that works well. I just feel like there should become some creativity into the mode, change it up a bit more. I know they changed the reward offerings or tweak them slightly at the end of every season, but I feel maybe that could be done a bit more regularly. And then also Elite needs reworked massively, because it's like just 1 of 3 Team of the Week players from all of them. There's people in the elite, there's pros in the elite division grinding it, insane skill rating to get a 78 rated player pick from the rewards. That shouldn't be the case. That should be like a promo player guaranteed or something. But that's the issue with Rivals. And then Champs has the issue where it has probably the best reward for time investment, I think, in the game. Obviously, you have playoffs, and then you also have the so playoffs, you do 10 matches, and then you actually have your FUT Champs finals, which is your 20 matches. So it's still the 30 matches, but I do like the split they have of 10 and 20. I think that works well. But because gameplay, going back to that, because gameplay is so bad, I end up playing Golden Goal in this. I played Golden Goal for almost a year straight in FUT Champs, because again, it's a good thing because the rewards are that good in regards to, like, you can get 9 wins or 11 wins. 11 wins is, for me, is the best. If you want to stretch to 14, cool. 9 or 11 wins out of the 20 is pretty obtainable and gets you like the best rewards, like for value for time. After that, it sort of lowers a bit. I will say they've recently changed this. Actually, we don't get Team of the Week players anymore, but we get 1 of 3 84 plus rare gold players. Now, technically, we get higher rated players from this, which is, for the player pick, I think is not so much of an issue, because like we could open a FUT Champs Team of the Week player and get like all under 80s. Like, that was a possibility. So at least we've got the rating guarantee here. However, the fact that you're not going to get necessarily a special card as an option at all, you could open and get 3 84s, which would be a basic gold, whereas with a Team of the Week pick, you could get like an 88 rated Team of the Week, and then it's 5 83 plus rare gold players pack. Again, you're getting 5 83 plus guarantees, as beforehand you could open a Team of the Week pack and get absolutely nothing, all under 80s, but they'd quick sell for 30k, and that's not a guarantee with this pack. So I feel rewards in that sense have been messed up a little bit. I think the thing that would help fix FUT Champs is probably having better gameplay, and then Rivals needs more added to it. Overall, for the actual player picks in FUT Champs, I know we just discussed how they changed it from Team of the Week to like 83 plus, but even when it's Team of the Week, that's horrific. We should be getting at least like promo players layered into the Team of the Week in these player picks. And then finally, friendlies is good to have objectives, but I just feel like the overall execution of objectives, the timings for them, the requirements for them, and then just the friendlies mode in general, it's not been executed as well as it could be. It's not been as bad as other modes, but it's far from being good. It's far from being great. You can hop in, you can easily play public matches, you can go Silver Lounge, Manager and Masterpiece. I feel like the wins, like this year, this 60 matches thing, like I think Nepenthes covered this really well. There's like, you can blitz these 60 matches in the 24 hours, and then you can still get like the soft ban and stuff for playing the game too much. You can get soft banned, which again doesn't make sense from EA. But that's enough on gameplay. Let's go into content delivery. I'll try and tear through these last few points as much as I can. Content wise, this year they've increased the power curve way too quickly, and that's clear to see across the board. I think we've acknowledged this right from the start. So the players we're seeing now in packs, if I go to the transfer list and just flick through some specials, like they're compared to the previous years, they're so much better. And there was worry that they were going to try and like long out the progression side of things on these cards. I'm not going to get any of the sort of specials I'm looking for in this situation. Let's go for Path to Glory. Isn't as bad with how some of the upgrades are working, but some of these cards are super overpowered for this time. They're much better than what we would be getting for Footmas, which is probably the big thing. Footmas would probably be 2 to 3 weeks away at this point still, probably 2 weeks. And these cards are well ahead of that power curve. So they're too far ahead, which means they've got a bit of a limitation in what they'll be able to incrementally give us throughout the next 6-7 months, because they're going to very quickly hit like the max sort of ratings. And then it's just going to be more and more players at the max rating coming out. But on that as well, they've like prevented menu grinding. We don't have league SBCs. We've got very limited ways to like make fodder. Again, that comes into sometimes the rewards across the board in the games outside of Foot Champs kind of limit it. Rivals isn't too bad for it if you play all your games, but there needs to be ways in the games to more consistently get more packs, whether that's through milestones, through cheap SBCs, through dropping free packs in the store, like stuff like that. They just need more ways of getting packs so you can build fodder. At the minute, if you even go to like upgrades, premium upgrades go, like this used to be filled, or we used to have an actual section for league upgrades, I think. We used to have dedicated league section with like 8 to 12 league SBCs, which we could like just filter fodder through. Even as a casual, you could filter the cards you have in the club through and get some rewards. You'd be able to craft SBCs. SBCs are stupidly overpriced. I'll go back to the Ribery. He was overpriced for what he was. So many of them are. That tied with the fact that there's a limited way to make fodder. Essentially, EA, this game only benefits if you pay money to them. There's a lack of ways to build fodder. There's a just lack of SBC. Lack of ways to build fodder with a lack of ways to get consistently big rewards. And then the only alternative then to complete these expensive SBCs is to buy FIFA points and open packs, which don't do, please. And I think, like, as much as talking from someone who plays the game more than a casual up until recently, I think this impacts the casual audience the most out of everyone, because if you're grinding this game, you can find a way to make most things work, kind of thing. Where if you're a casual, you're just screwed. You're looking at it like, oh, I've completed one SBC, time to not complete one for 2 months whilst I rebuild my club. Like, it's just absurd. And I know how entitled the FIFA community seems, because we expect EA to drop content of a good standard every day at 6 PM. But there's two elements of this. One, they set that standard by doing 6 PM content daily. Sometimes they maybe don't, every now and then they don't do anything at all. Sometimes they only do it per SBC, but we do get daily content. So like, they've set the standard that they're going to release daily content. And then in the other regard, there's other games that do daily content and do it fairly well. Now, granted, a lot of that store related stuff in other games, but they can plan this stuff weeks in advance. They could have a full promo and like all the SBCs that are going to be released within that week for the promo locked in on a schedule, ready to upload 2 weeks in advance. And they just don't. They're just ignoring and failing the basics. And that comes into the point of why they're probably not going to watch this video, is because EA in general don't care with how much money they make from the game, but even more so this year, because they're losing the FIFA right after this, which means in the next year's game, we already know, is going to be called like EA Sports FC. I think that's basically what the Ultimate Team is going to be. It's going to be EA Sports FC. It's not going to be FIFA 24. But if they do such a bad job with FIFA 23, the casual community that don't see much about it, they're going to turn around and say, oh, well, we don't want to buy FIFA 24 because FIFA 23 was so bad, so whoever's developing the new FIFA is going to get screwed because EA have purposely done it. And then people are going to say, oh, look, here's EA Sports FC game, whatever they call it. Oh, that's better. That might be better than FIFA. Let's go give it a go. So EA are shitting on their own community to then screw them over and convince casuals that this game will be better because it's not got FIFA on it. So that's insane as it is. Chemistry is another thing to discuss. They reworked that. It's actually made it more confusing for the audience and casual players, and it also reduces the benefit of icons because you don't get like this link that guarantees like either an orange link or a green link to someone. They just drop into the team if I go get an icon, if I've still got one after having to submit them into SBCs because I ran out of fodder. Like Dino, do I have a cam here? I do. Like I can drop Dino. Look, this is the perfect example. I'm going to lose 4 chemistry by putting an icon into the team. So yes, my icon gets full chemistry regardless, but my overall team chemistry is impacted by it. So it's actually more beneficial for me in this case, in a chemistry sense, to play Nakata over Ronaldinho. There's probably other cams as well that would be more beneficial for me to play over Ronaldinho in this sense. So I know maybe they've done this as a way to try and make heroes seem more favourable to icons, but that wouldn't make sense either. So overall, the chemistry work, I prefer. I actually like the sound of it. I'll be honest. I like the sound of it when they announced it, and I think it would be good if they just didn't kill how valuable icons are. Because now, whenever you go to do an icon SBC, you're gonna look at it or even buy one off the market. Like people's not. He's a cheaper example. 10 segments. I'll check his price now. Let's go see what he actually costs. This SBC costs 1.2 million coins to complete. He's now 850k on the market. Don't get me wrong, he's a good card. The high medium, 4-star, 4-star, good pace. The shooting stats are solid. Passing for a striker at this point in the game is still good. Physicals and dribbling are well rounded. But there's players out there on the market for a quarter of the price, and you can make the argument over like being able to craft him if you really want to, but there's players in the market for probably even an eighth of the price. So you could probably pick up someone for 100k at this point that's going to provide you the same impact in game and will probably get you more chemistry on your team. So EA have killed the point of icons with this system. So yeah, as much as I can understand that, I know how to build chemistry in it. The fact that the only real good thing is that, sorry, there's 2 things. Being able to link like a striker to a right back by league or nation, I do like that aspect of it. I think that's good. I also like that you don't get negative stats. So if I really wanted to, I could start Ronaldinho at right back. I take a chemistry hit, but his stats don't get lowered. Like in previous games, you'd be losing like 10 stats across the board, like 10 in each stat. I mean, so that's cool. But the rework's just been lackluster across the board. We'll move on. Actually, yeah, they should have kept the same system, I think, and kept the simplicity, or preferably scrapped chemistry completely, and then just let people build the Ultimate Team without the barriers. Like, it's called Ultimate Team, but if I want to go and throw in like players from mad regions and stuff, I can't do it without possibly losing chemistry, which is just, you can't really build an Ultimate Team. And again, I think possibly, as much as I'm saying there are good things that came from this chemistry change, I feel like they've done it this year particularly, knowing again the situation of them losing FIFA rights and then becoming their own game, because if it does create problems in the community and some people don't like it and there are people that hate it, that's going to be deemed a FIFA issue, not an EA Sports FC issue. The next thing for me is World Cup content, and I mean, going to the objectives is probably the best way to do this, and going to milestones for dynamic duos, wherever the hell they live now. So dynamic duo 4 or 5, the Canadian guys. We've got Lauren, I've already completed Buchanan, is that how you, yeah, Buchanan. I've already completed him. This is mostly good. This is the one where you can do it in rivals or squad battles, which I think is the best format, honestly, for this sort of objective. Having the option to possibly play it in a specific rivals mode or friendlies mode too could be cool. I know that opens up to maybe playing friendlies in a way with your, if you put it in a specific lobby in friendlies, you wouldn't have an issue. So I feel like if people don't want to worry about like losing in rivals, or they don't want to play squad battles, they should also make a friendlies mode this can be played in, because you're still going head to head. But you compare it to this dynamic duo, you have to play it in friendlies, and you have to score 12 goals, and you have to win 8 matches in friendlies. So obviously that one's much harder than the squad battle one. So I feel like meeting in the middle on the requirements and making it accessible in every single mode would make sense. But also, the round of 16 has just finished for the World Cup. As I'm recording this tonight, the round of 16 has finished, and we haven't had a dynamic duo for every nation. We might not even have a dynamic duo for half of the nations in the World Cup. Before group stage finished, we should have had dynamic duo objectives, and I'm only talking objectives here. Squad building challenges is another thing they could have done. We should have had objectives in its own specific tab for every single nation. It's World Cup content, include every bloody nation, give us more to play for, make it accessible against across the 3 main modes. I know people could argue champs, but there's competitive integrity they want to keep there. Make the objectives achievable through friendlies, through rivals, and through squad battles. So you can pick whichever mode suits you, and you can go and complete them. And then, if they fix chemistry, you can go and build your ultimate team. So again, the lack of content and the execution of content is really... Actually, it's not that gameplay is still scuffed, but it's harder for me to explain that issue, especially with not playing at quite a high level anymore. But content's the big one. That's what people are here for. The game needs, like, as much as gameplay should be, like, they need good gameplay and good content. I think that's lost sometimes. People look at it as if they have one, then the game will be fine. But, like, they could put all this content in, but if the gameplay isn't fun, the game's not fun, grinding to get that content isn't going to be good, and then when you finally achieve your content, you're not going to enjoy playing with it because the gameplay sucks. So always hand in hand. But I feel content's easier to fix than gameplay at the minute. They should be executing this. Like I say, they could have this plan for a couple of dynamic duos to drop every single night during group stage, some in the lead up as well. There's just so much they could do. That comes back to milestone players as well. Like we still have milestone players for like squad foundations for the Super League, for example. This has replaced what we used to get for like league milestone players. The best example for me is the Politano from a couple of years ago, who was, I think, either 85, they got a new version to 87, or 87, they got a version to 89. I can't remember the exact combo, but basically he had like this card that you had to complete. You had to score goals or get assists with a person from each club in the Serie A. And then once you did all that, you got Politano, and then further down the game cycle, they released a version that could be upgraded by using challenges with the other Politano. Fantastic. That was great. They need to build on that, and they could do it in slightly different ways with a lot of different variants in it, but we should be having league milestone players for the 5 major leagues as a minimum. I really appreciate like the whole squad foundations for lower leagues, especially for like Turkey and stuff, and I know by the time these guys came out, the 84 was maybe on the power curve, but there is an issue now. 82 rated, 83 rated, 83 rated, 84 rated. If someone picks this game up for Christmas and these guys will still be available then, like, you can argue they might be good for a starter squad and that might stand, but by that point, gold cards at that rating, or even promo cards that are still now freshly released and 10k discard price because of how dreadful they are, or because of how cheap the market is, it sort of negates the value for this. But we should be getting milestone players for every single major league. I think we should be getting them for every club in the top 5 leagues personally, whether that's 1 player per club, 2 players per club, a way to obtain maybe 5 players. There should be a way basically to build your ultimate team with your favorite club, and I know if your club maybe is in the Belgian league and I'm not including them in this, that's where maybe these squad foundations are still utilised to get some element of that for smaller leagues. But that would make it more ways to obtain cards that's not necessarily free, but is objective based and gives you another way to grind things. And then also, something they could do with them is make the cards upgradable. Now, I can understand there's a bit of a tricky execution on that, because you'd have to limit the progression to game modes, or there's a chance that people go in with their mate and friendlies and score 100 goals against each other and like boost the cards. But if someone's going to, I think like the boosts should be noticeable, but like with all these cards, I know people have complained about the power curve. People will look at it and be, okay, all these cards are coming out. You're asking for that, but you don't want the power curve to be hindered. You can basically have these cards drop at the time so they're strong in the power curve, not making a higher power curve, and then they will naturally drop off a bit, and they're all released at like the same rating. So all you're doing in that case is giving people more squad building options and more to pick and choose for what to play for. Because you don't have to complete everything in objectives. Not everything has to be made for every person, but I think having that offering across the board would be good. So they could, one, have those up. They need them there for every major league, ideally every club in those leagues. and then have an upgradable version. So say I took this Pookie, he's 84 rated. He probably should have been like 85, maybe 86 rated to make him as more usable, but he's 84 rated. Say I've gone completed him, there should be a tab here that's got called like progression or something, and there should be 5 objectives of ways I can upgrade this Pookie. Maybe one of them is, say 4 of them are for him to get a +1 upgrade. So I have a chance of through the next 3 months, I can get this Pookie to be 88 rated and keep him on the power curve. Not better than the max power curve, not being the best card in the game, but I can keep him on the power curve. And then the 5th upgrade is an option for me to choose between a skill move or a weak foot option. Then what that does is mean that maybe some people, and I can understand the arguments already for the esports side of things, that if people are being able to customize players to have a better skill move or a better weak foot, you can't really prepare so much for every player. But I think for these cards that they're not going to be high enough in the power curve to be used at pro level, that shouldn't be a problem. It would mean that if I've taken this Pookie, I've got him to 88 rated, and I decided, you know what, I don't use skills that much, I'm happy with 4-star skill moves, I want the weak foot upgrade, I can go and put a 4-star weak foot on him. I've got a nice 4-star 88 rated striker now that I love to use because I'm not a Norwich fan, but for this case, because I'm a big Norwich fan, or maybe I'm Finnish. And then, but someone else can come and I'll be like, oh, you know what, I love doing skill moves on FIFA. I want 5-star skill moves, let me do that. Like, I feel like there would be a bit of time to develop like the system, but once it's in place, along with push night content, it should be really, really easy to do. And I know at this point, I'm looking at the time here on OBS, we're over 35 minutes. Even with the edit, it's probably going to come in half an hour. We've discussed a lot of things, but ultimately, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. If you've watched all of this, I really appreciate it, because I know this has mostly been a ramble, and I appreciate that. Apologies for there not being a custom tactics video, but like I say, I cannot bring myself to play this game because I don't enjoy it. It was hindering my sort of mental a little bit, I'll be honest, because I was sitting down and being like, oh, well, I have to play like so many games on this game that I don't enjoy to be able to make content, and that's not a good space to be in. It doesn't do much for my content for you guys either. We'll discuss that in a little second, but give me your feedback on this and give me your opinions on it. Like I say, I made these notes, I tried to touch on every other element to round up. Basically, there's the gameplay issue of it being across 2 generations, and then there's the meta and the gameplay itself, and then Stallion's discussion on it, the fact that going more realistic isn't great. Gameplay offerings, we need to see at least 2 other modes introduced. We need to see rewards better across the board, so they're just more useful to play. And draft needs rework drastically, and then Foot Champs needs better reward systems in the player picks. The content delivery, we should be getting content at least like, if you look at what we've got over the World Cup, we've been getting like proper bottom of the barrel content. We should be at least be getting a respectable amount of content every day at 6 PM. Obviously, maybe some holiday days, maybe Christmas Day, we don't get anything, but I've had that argument on social media before. They could plan Christmas Day content 3 weeks in advance. They don't have to be sat in the office pushing that out. So we could technically still get Christmas Day content for those that want to play the game on Christmas Day. You can do what you want on Christmas. So that's another good example. And then really, yeah, we should have been seeing World Cup content for every nation, like already available in the game way before we have now. We still haven't even close to getting it. We need milestone players back, and we need ways to upgrade cards ourselves. I would absolutely love, obviously, if a promo card maybe has more upgrade options, but I would love to take this Pellegrini. I think combined off this one and the other one I had before I packed this untradeable version, probably close to 300 games in my club, which is majority of my games, I'll be honest. Being able to even take him to 86 rated by completing some insane thing. Maybe I have to maybe I get a +1 after I played 200 games with them, and maybe I get a +1 after I've scored so many goals, and then maybe the chance for the skill move a week for upgrade comes in. Me doing that over a 3-month period, him going to an 86, getting a custom, not necessarily a custom for me, but like a sort of like indication on the card that they're being upgraded by either the 1, 2, or 3rd options. I don't see how that would be an issue, and it should be very easily implemented across the board. I would love that. But in regards to how that affects my channel and content, obviously I've spent the past year really working on this and trying to grow the content, and the support has been great. We've had some videos pop off, we've had some great support, and the Discord's growing nicely as well. But I'm not in a position where I enjoy playing this game. I honestly came into FIFA 23, I was moving as well. I was going to have this studio space, which I'm still working on, in all fairness, this sort of studio office space that I'd be able to stream from record from, make engaging content with, do TikToks and YouTube shorts and everything. And the game has honestly just ruined that motivation completely. I would love to be streaming 4 nights a week playing this game, but I don't enjoy it, so I can. And that's where I put a poll out, and the feedback was mixed. So thank you to everyone that voted, but the feedback was mixed on whether I should do only FIFA content on this channel, but less of it, and focus on other games I enjoy, but put that content on a second channel to not avoid clashes. Or I just continue to battle with FIFA, which realistically is an option. I came to that conclusion this week while discussing this with you guys. And then the final option is that I just start posting variety content on this channel. Now, if you've only followed me for the past year or past 2 months on FIFA side of things, I've been in the esports side of things for almost a decade. I competed for multiple years in Call of Duty at a decent level. I've managed teams in esports. I love other esports titles, specifically FPS games. Where I'm seeing it is this channel is going to step away from being FIFA, sadly, almost completely, I think. Maybe we'll keep some stuff up here and there for you guys that are hardcore FIFA fans. But I think we're going to shift this channel towards whatever I fancy. Because if we're going variety, we can do a mix. I think we're going to cover some FPS games. We're going to cover Zombies is FPS on COD, but FPS esports titles, maybe called Zombies here and there. Maybe other games, maybe channel football stuff. I just think we're going to mix it into variety, and we're just going to push out what I'm enjoying playing at the time, or what I'm enjoying doing at the time, because that should make better content for you guys. And then we're also hopefully going to be able to stream at least twice a week moving forward, and that will probably end up being over on Twitch, which the link will be down below, and that will all hopefully open up a few things variety wise. But after midnight now, we've just had 40 minutes on the recording. I'm going to finish my rambles here. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. I really do appreciate that. You'll continue to see me in videos, maybe a bit less over the next week or two while we figure things out, but we're going to keep making videos on the channel because I want to keep the growth going. It's been great, but there's going to be a change in approach. If the YouTube algorithm likes it or not, we'll soon find out. But thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for the support. Hit me with your feedback in the comments down below. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you in the next one, and I can't tell you when because we're not sure. But thank you for watching, guys. Goodbye.